For the last quarter of a century, the US and India were on a path, getting closer and closer, building what a lot of people thought was one of the most important partnerships in the world. But now, well, that partnership has hit some serious turbulence, creating a massive rift. So we're going to dive into what exactly happened and how 25 years of careful diplomacy could unravel so darn fast. And I'm not exaggerating here. To really drive this home, one of our sources for this, Foreign Affairs, puts it this bluntly. They say the relationship hasn't just gotten a little rocky, no, it has abruptly gone off the rails. So yeah, that's the big question we're digging into. Why? Okay, a huge piece of this puzzle is this number right here, 50%. That's the staggering new tariff rate the US slapped on certain Indian goods. This was a massive economic shock. And the official reason? Supposedly, it was punishment for India buying Russian oil. And this is where the picture gets really stark. At the exact same time India got hit with those crippling tariffs, the White House turned around and announced a brand new oil development deal with Pakistan, India's longtime adversary. You can imagine how that went over in New Delhi. It wasn't just business. It felt like a huge strategic betrayal. Now, to really grasp just how significant this breakdown is, we have to rewind a bit. We need to look at the foundation that was just torn down. Let's take a quick look at how this bond was built, piece by piece, over 25 years. You can really see the story unfolding here. It all kicked off in the 90s, right after the Cold War. India opened up its economy and started reaching out to the US. Then, through the 2000s, things got serious. It became a strategic partnership, built on these big shared values, the world's two largest democracies. By the time we hit the 2010s, it seemed rock solid, glued together by a shared concern, the rise of China. I mean, it looked like a textbook case of building a strong, lasting alliance. So, how does something that strong just crumble, and so quickly? Well, according to our sources, it all happened in a flash, thanks to a series of 3 key actions from Washington that blew right past what India considered its diplomatic red lines. It was like a 1-2-3 punch. First, you get the economic shock of that 50% tariff. Then you get the strategic pivot towards Pakistan. And finally, the third blow, a massive diplomatic insult, with President Trump offering to mediate the Kashmir dispute. That is a huge no-no, something India has told the world to stay out of for decades. Those 3 moves, bam, 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 and the whole relationship was on the ropes. And this quote right here, it just nails the fundamental problem. It gets right to the heart of it. It's a complete mismatch in how each side sees the world. As one analyst put it, India sees itself as a central player in Asia. Trump does not. And when you have a gap in perception that big, you're bound to have a crisis. So, what this whole mess did was put India's entire foreign policy, its grand strategy for the 21st century, really, under an intense, high-stakes stress test. And that strategy has a name: multi-alignment. So, what is multi-alignment? Well, the idea is actually pretty simple, in theory, anyway. It's basically this: be friends with everyone, but tied to no one. India's goal was to build solid partnerships with all sorts of countries, the US, Russia, Iran, Israel, you name it, without getting locked into any formal military alliances. The whole point was to let India be its own independent, influential pole in a multipolar world. And this table, man, this is where you can really see the collision course. On one side, you have all the key assumptions that India's entire strategy was built on. The US needs us to counter China. Washington will be cool with our ties to Russia. But then on the other side, you have the new America First reality, which basically took a sledgehammer to every single one of those assumptions. So this isn't just about a rocky relationship between 2 countries. The fallout from this strategy failing under pressure has sent shockwaves everywhere for New Delhi. And it's led to a really surprising and kind of paradoxical way of thinking. I mean, just think about the ripple effects. The US looks unreliable, so Russia starts thinking, hey, maybe we don't need to prioritize India so much, and gets cozier with China. Then, during a recent flare-up with Pakistan, Russia's support for India was lukewarm at best. And all of this? It basically gives China a free pass to expand its own influence in the region, right in India's backyard. So this brings us to the most crucial question, right? If your grand strategy is in tatters, If it just failed this spectacularly under pressure, the logical thing to do would be to change it. You ditch it and try something new, wouldn't you? Yeah, you would think so, but no. And this is the central paradox our sources keep pointing to. India's likely response isn't to abandon the strategy, it's to double down. Now, I know that sounds weird, but the logic from New Delhi's point of view goes something like this. If a major partner like the United States can be this unpredictable, then the only rational way to protect yourself is to diversify even more. You need more friends, not fewer, as a hedge. So paradoxically, the very failure of multi-alignment has become the strongest argument for more multi-alignment. And that leaves us with a final, really provocative thought. This whole rift between the US and India, maybe it's bigger than just two countries. Maybe it's a preview of a new era for everyone. When the great powers on the world stage start acting this transactionally, this unpredictably, does the whole system of alliances and partnerships start to break down into a world where it's just every nation for itself?